Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah ta'ala, our session tonight will be on the discussion or the display. Inshallah, run through of a small booklet that I put together some years ago, maybe a decade ago, which is called the Disciples Primer, which is meant to be an introductory tool for the average 5 layman, laywoman Muslim, introducing and also teaching you, but most importantly, introducing the basic 101 must know facts regarding hadiths and their science, their classification. Pay attention. Introductory is one word. Teaching you, educating you is another word or term of understanding. In another book, The Way of the Disciple, we mentioned a chapter of true teachers. And obviously, when something is true, then it must have an opposite or a nemesis. So there's something which is untrue, or which is a harsh word, a harsh term. If this is genuine, if this is authentic, then it's a must for it to be something which is unauthentic, inauthentic. Okay? Authentic name in this recipe or culinary or culture, a restaurant. I.e. that there are other restaurants who aren't. Well, how can that? So, real teachers versus fake teachers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be real, to stay real. Someone who introduces you, shows you something, pushes you forward, walks with you and then lets you go. Versus someone who continues to hold your hand the entire time from beginning to end. So a real teacher, in our humble philosophy, is someone who doesn't teach you everything. And someone who doesn't give you everything. But is someone who introduces you, puts you on. First, here you go, you started, now the rest you gotta figure out by yourself. I'll come back in 6 months, a year, you should have 2-3 times more. That's somebody that's doing you a real favor versus the one who's micromanaging you, babying you, showing you, and giving you things without teaching you how to develop and grow on your own. So in The Way of the Disciple, you can check out the book, inshallah ta'ala, on real teachers. And that a real teacher is someone who initially takes your hand, yes. He grabs your hand. Their training was in the beginning, but only for a limited period of time. You have to learn your own balance. If you have to fall off the bike and get scraped up and bumped up, that's what you do. But I'm not going to be there to walk with you and hold you the entire way. That's a disservice to your child that you're trying to teach how to ride a bike. You're harming them. It's a disservice. You think that it's being merciful and kind and nice, but in reality, you're setting them up for failure later on because it's an eventuality in which you're near. You're going to die, you're going to get old, you're going to get busy. I can't be there all the time. So I have to teach you how to figure it out, where to find it, how to get it. But the first couple of rides and turns, of course, I'm going to be there for you. And I'm going to make sure you have on your helmet, your knee pads, your elbow pads, training wheels. No doubt, I don't want you to get hurt. But eventually, you have to learn how to pop that wheelie yourself. All right? So teaching knowledge, any knowledge, let alone Islamic knowledge, is no different. Real teacher is someone that wants you to learn and study. Doesn't want someone to be or to have someone that's under you 24/7. And obviously that has led to many calamitous and disastrous problems in our communities, in which there's a whole attachment between speaker and listener. I said, some attachment for sure. This is my sheikh. Of course I love him. Of course I live with him. Of course I'm going to study with him. Of course I'm going to show him the utmost respect. But we say unnatural. And that is the attachment of a lackey. A yes man, do everything I say and do so on and so forth. And many of the prior predecessors, they spoke on this. Specifically with regards to someone walking and having people walking behind them. Many of the Salaf, they will forbid this act. Don't walk behind me when I'm walking. You can walk with me, no problem. You can ask questions, we can talk, we can discuss. Don't trail and walk behind me. And one of them, he said, فَإِنَّ هَذَا فِتْنَةٌ لِلتَّابِعِ ذُلٌّ. He says, ذُلٌّ لِلتَّابِعِ وَفِتْنَةٌ لِلْمُتَوَفِّى. It's a fitna for the one being followed, ego. And it's humiliation and shame for the follower. So there is a type of attachment to your teacher, loyalty, love, respect, no doubt about that. And then there is a type or a level in which the teacher has to shun you and push you away from me. But Sheikh, leave me. But Sheikh, leave my presence. Go, get out, lock the door. Don't come back. I.e., I'm taking off the training wheels, you have to what? You have to learn how to get your balance yourself. You have to learn how to go fast. And if you don't, you'll never be able to pop a wheelie or do a trick on a bicycle. You'll be able to ride the bicycle with one hand. And you're going to need those skills when the time comes in which I'm too old or I'm too sick. I'm not there for you anymore. All right, so teaching someone, giving dawah to the point in which the person is attached to you like this, and the person is a lackey, a yes man, that's something that we do not promote. So the book, inshallah ta'ala, has been to introduce you, to show you, and at the same time, there is a percentage and there is a ratio of me actually teaching you, giving you information, but I'm not giving you everything because it's a primer. It's meant to introduce you. And then there are other books, other classes that I myself and others have. Now you need to jump up. But the primer is never meant to be big and heavy. And obviously we've spoken on that and messages as well with regards to ease and simplicity for the first step that you take in any science. You want to learn tajweed, you want fiqh, you want to learn seerah, you want to learn the Arabic language, easiest and shortest. Easiest and shortest. How did that book come? What's the best book to read on tafsir for a beginner? What's the best book to study on aqidah for a beginner? What's the best book for a fiqh beginner? What's the best madhab for a beginner? The book which is the shortest and the easiest, period. Not the most famous author, the best book, not the most authentic book, but the book which is shortest in wording and simplest in understanding. In other words, get your feet wet. And then you mature, grow. You understand this? But you don't start off with a 100-page book for a beginner. You don't start off with a 200-page book for a beginner. You don't start off with mentioning all the different views and this and that for the beginner. But it's an introduction with a little bit of, take this for free, but not too much. Too comfortable taking handouts. All right, so about the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we'll discuss this after Salat al-Isha, bi'idhnillah. Right now, with the time that we have, we'll try to take the questions, bi'idhnillah. If there are questions from the brothers here, or from the sisters here, we normally do the Q&A after the class or the session of the workshop. But today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll take them now, ahead of time. And there's nothing wrong with that as well. Many of our teachers in Medina will do that too. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Let alone, alhamdulillah, we adopted many sit-ins we had, which is just for Q&A. This majlis is just for as'ila wa ajwiba. And of course, within the as'ila and ajwiba, it's a great deal of knowledge, inshallah. Wallahu a'lam. No questions?
So a couple of siblings, particularly my sibling and my father, I've had a debate on whether saying gosh is allowed. Because one of my siblings saying that you can't say gosh because that's just an atheist version of saying, or trying to avoid saying God. Mm-hmm. So does it really matter either way, or could it just be used interchangeably?
The question is regarding saying, Is it okay? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Are there origins of this statement that come from atheists? People who want the spirit but without the letter. Oh gosh, but without acknowledging God. This is a very important question. One of the reasons why it's so important is, first and foremost, it's something that is abundant. We say this on a daily basis. Oh gosh. Secondly, it's a very important question because it leads a springboard to many other statements that we make, such as geez, or such as hello, or such as goodbye, good evening, good night, good morning. There are many, many phrases that come from some type of religious, spiritual background, which God, Godspeed, hello, halo, and the list goes on. There are many, many, many words and phrases like this in the English language and in the English culture that come from origins of paganism, Christianity, Judaism. He's a good Samaritan. Where do you think that word from?
Judaism.
What is a Samaritan? When someone's a good person, they're good, active in the community, it's a good, you call them a good Samaritan. You tell the police officer, I just wanted to be a what? A good Samaritan. Where does the word Samaritan come from? Anybody know?
It comes from the Bible, from the story of there's a story called the story of the Samaritan in the Bible.
And then the list goes what? On and on. So this is very important.
Samaritan people?
At the end of the day, it's a yes and a no answer. You shouldn't say it for several reasons. The first reason why you shouldn't say it is that you have a better substitute. You have a subhanallah. Allah al-Musta'an, Allahu Akbar. When you're amazed, when you're upset, when you want to exclamate something, you can just say subhanallah. Instead of saying gosh, geez, or oh man. Also, with regards to saying goodbye, assalamu alaikum. You understand? So, one of the reasons why it's best not to say it is that there's better. And from the messages of the Quran al-Kareem is never to do with that which is better for that which is inferior. And that is from the bad sunnah of the Yahud. Allah gave salawah, and they wanted things which are what? Lesser. And Allah asked them the question, أَتَسْتَبْدِلُونَ الَّذِي هُوَ أَدْنَى لِلَّذِي هُوَ خَيْرٌ. Allah asked them this question. So that's a general Quranic principle. أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. On this day I've completed for you your deen. And my favor upon you is perfected. There's nothing else can be done. You have everything you want and need. In this world, in the grave, and in the next. Clear. So why you? And that applies to what you believe in, what you do, what you say, and the list goes on and on. So that's one reason why it's best not to say it. Secondly, it's obvious origins. But the no or the yes part of the answer is, there are things that the companions said in the time of the Prophet ﷺ that they didn't actually mean. But they said them. It was a statement, it's well known, and it didn't mean the actual literal meaning of it. Such as, Kilatka ummuk. May your mother be bereft of you. I.e., is basically saying, may you die. And they never meant that literally, but it's something that they said. Also, the concept of kadhabu Allah. The enemy of Allah has lied. He says, he interpreted that as not this kadhab adu Allah. And he never meant or intended to call another Muslim an enemy of Allah. But, right? Also, the Arabs, they would say, قَاتَلَهُ اللَّهُ مَا أَشْجَعَهُ. Literal translate that. I don't want to translate it. How brave he is. In English, similar things you say in English, you call someone, unfortunately, he says, have a gun, right? He thinks he can win. Look how courageous, look how much gall he has. What's the first thing people say in the culture? They call him a what? But they don't actually mean to curse his mother. No, they're trying to state that he comes from illegitimate conception. But it's just saying that that such and such, like the nerve of him, he whacking that. So many things that the companions said that they never literally meant, the Prophet ﷺ allowed them to say it. So therefore, if a person says gosh or geez, it's not the best thing to say. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is prohibited. Nor does it mean that the Muslim is going to get a sin or he's going to imitate the kuffar or he has some type of kufr or shirk in what he's saying. There are many words that have evolved in Arabic and in English and all other languages. There's evolution in all things. So words, phrases do evolve. So that which is clearly prohibited in the Quran, there is no evolution. Khalas, prohibited. You can't speak about other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, period. Even though that is a discussion. Al-Muhim, at the end of the day, best not to say, forcing your view upon us that you can't say is haram, that you're practicing atheism or that, you can't say that either. Hopefully that's clear. Allah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khairan.
Bismillah.
Prophet Muhammad
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
for the day of judgment, that the women in our number 50 to 1. So, with that being said, so as for, should we consider it a duty or responsibility to the woman to have more than one wife?
Right. The Prophet ﷺ tells us in many hadiths, authentic hadiths, that things will change towards the end of time. There will be a disappearance of knowledge, a widespread of ignorance, mass consumption of alcohol, and an abundance of women. Until one man, one qayyim, one provider, protector, alpha male, qayyim, qawamun, right? Qa'im, okay, will have 50 women under his guardianship or protection or in his harem. 50. All right. Does this mean that it is a duty or responsibility, an honor, something for a Muslim man to have more than one wife, so on and so forth? As far as polygamy, and I'll say this now, there are different views, ins and outs of the English language, but I'm just saying why. The word polygamy in the English language is interchangeable, and it is valid and correct to say polygamy only talking about multiple women with one man. You do not have to say polygyny. Many people, they think that, but that's not, that's incorrect. In English, the Fusha English, you can say polygamy, you don't have to say polygyny. That's number one. Number two, obviously as Muslims, there is no woman having 4 husbands. So there's no need that you have to say polygyny. That's just FYI. Many brothers and speakers, they'll stop someone that curse and say, oh, you can't say polygamy, you have to say polygyny. La, evident. It's wrong. Right. So therefore, as far as polygamy, the fiqh of polygamy, the do's and don'ts, the virtues, we've discussed this in many, many classes and lectures. Okay? Also many misconceptions concerning polygamy. Unfortunately, some of the negativities that come forth, the extremes, the stupefying hatred that many people show towards polygamy, and even more stupefying, is coming from a man. You would think that a woman would be on the forefront against polygamy, but you would think that a man being on the, for argument's sake, greater end of the receiving end, he would, at least let me just keep my. I don't want to have one wife. I can't afford it. I don't want it. I'm scared of my heart. But let me just at least what? Not say nothing. But then to find a man vocally being an opponent against this and that in itself is something that is very hard to wrap your head around. Extremely. Okay? It's like a woman who has her own money. She tells the husband, I don't need your money, I have my own money. But is she going to speak out against the man providing for her because she's supposed to be on the what? It's more of a thing that is for you. But this is the situation in which we live. So the discussion of polygamy is a very long discussion. Very long discussion. Is it an obligation based off of this hadith, so on and so forth? If there are more women, and if there are less men, regardless of why that will be, wars, more women, less men, those women, what happens in a society? I mean, what did the guy say, the president? He said, we're going to protect the women, even if they don't want to be protected. That's what he said. That's his rhetoric. He's a non-Muslim, outlandish, whatever, but look at his mindset. Even as a Catholic. Even if the woman thinks or says that she doesn't protect her, we're going to what? We're going to do it. Because according to him, there's a need for women to be protected. So it's a chivalrous thing for us to do it, even if they're against it. That's not Muslim. So if there's an abundance of women out there, even if 50-to-1 ratio, Allah out of them for living in that exact time, for sure there's ignorance, and for sure there's mass conception of khamr. But to what extent did the Prophet mean widespread ignorance? Many teachings of Islam are still known, alhamdulillah. Many aspects of Islam was access, easy access. Did the Prophet mean that? Or did he mean something way far more extreme? Ignorance, and etc. Alright? So at the end of the day, whether it's 50-to-1 ratio or not, there are sisters in the community, locally and abroad, who need whatever they need. Companionship, protection, love, and the list goes on. So if you see your sister need, and there's a lack of men or good men or willing women, then you have your what? You have your answer. There's no question about that. And if a man is practicing polygamy correctly, just like you should practice monogamy correctly, but that's a different level in itself. The hypocrisy of many of us. We demand perfection in polygamy, but we accept imperfection in monogamy. That's extremely double standard. Big time. Your husband's a dog. May Allah prevent a Muslim being called a dog, but we're just using the words once again. It's well known, and you accept that. You live with that. It's totally fine. He's poor, he's broke, he's that, he's a no good, such and such. But he's my no good, such and such. Totally fine. He wants to get a second wife, another woman. You don't have, you're not this, you're this, you're this. All the imperfection and flaws come up. But all the imperfection and flaws were what? Totally acceptable. Is what? It's off. Something is extremely off. So man is imperfect when he's monogamous, and he's also going to be imperfect when what? Polygamous. There's no on and off button. You become a perfect man. You have more than one family, as many people think. And they ignorantly think and feel that that is an addition and a stipulation of polygamy. That's wrong. Totally wrong. All right, that's neither here what? Nor there. But I will say this, is that if a man is trying his best to do it correctly, and he's taking care of more than one woman, more than one household, there lies no doubt he's a better, stronger man on all levels. Spiritually, more good deeds for him. Financially, his payroll is longer than yours. Eid al-Fitr. How many people does he have to pay Eid al-Fitr for? Food, this, school, education, transportation, and this goes what? On and on and on. The physical challenges of being in a polygamous marriage. You go home, you fall asleep. He only sees his wife once a week, twice a week. He can't just what? There is no sickness. So no doubt for a man to successfully practice it, he's more complete. There's no doubt about that. And that's why Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, خَيْرُ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ أَكْثَرُهُمْ أَوْ أَكْثَرُهَا نِسَاءً. He said the best of this nation is he with the most women. He's talking about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if there's a sister in need, and you take her on as a wife, even if you don't need to, no doubt that's an honor. And that's a reward, and that's a blessing. There's no question about that. And inshallah ta'ala, when marriage is practiced properly, monogamous or polygamous, it's only going to lead to a better, healthier Muslim community. That's a fact. It's only going to make the community better and cleaner. Versus those doors being left open, it's only going to lead. Wow. Wallahu ta'ala. Yakum. Bismillah. We'll stop here. What's the Abu Ijaz what did the man say to Ibn Abbas? He was teaching the Muslims, the best of the Muslims, the first generations, teaching the Salaf. And the man, he stood up, he said, yeah, Ibn Abbas, Salah. He said, prayer. Ibn Abbas, he kept speaking. It's time to pray. Ibn Abbas finally told the man, he said, Uskut, فَلَسْتَ بِأَعْلَمَ بِالصَّلَاةِ مِنِّي. He said, be quiet. You don't know more of the prayer than I do. That's what he told the man. So what's the, you can read it, authentic narration. What's the sunnah on stopping the class from timetable? What's the fiqh on that, Abu Ijaz? I provided the list, huh?
Keep going.
We'll stop here, inshallah. And after the salah, after the salah, we'll come back for our session. Brothers or sisters have more questions, we'll try to take them, inshallah, after salah to Isha. Jazakumullah khair.